Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new women's Nike Magista Obra in the Women's World Cup colorway. Now inside the box I do include a string bag to go along with the shoes themselves. The string bag is Volt Yellow in color with black strings. On one side you're going to find a black Nike swoosh. On the other side you're going to find your black Nike football branding. Other than that, all you're going to find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at the Women's World Cup colorway of the Nike Magista Obra. So not only is this a women's specific colorway, it's actually in women's sizing as well, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if you're a guy, you can't wear these. These are an 11 US women's, which essentially is the equivalent of a size 9.5 US men's. My size, I can actually wear these, and we'll talk more about the sizing a little bit later in the video, so stay tuned for that. Essentially what we're going to go over is the fit, the sizing, the tech specs. We're going to take a closer look at the colorway as well, and essentially do a complete overview of the Women's World Cup Magista Obra. So if you guys are interested in learning more about this particular shoe, please stick around, watch the entire video, and if you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page you will find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you will be able to pick these up below their normal $275 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below in the description, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk about women's sizing and ultimately how these things fit and feel on feet, if they differ at all from the men's version. Now the way women's sizing works is that women's sizing is 1.5 sizes smaller than men's sizing. So if I wear a 9.5 US in the men's version of the Magista Obra, I have to go up 1.5 sizes to an 11 US women's to have the exact same fit size-wise. And that's exactly what I've done here. Like I said, normally I wear a 9.5 US in the men's Obra. These are an 11 US women's, and the fit is absolutely the same. No difference whatsoever. So if you're looking to wear any of the Women's World Cup stuff from Nike, all you have to do is take the size you wear in the men's version, bump it up 1.5 sizes, and you essentially have the equivalent. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that they only make the Women's World Cup pack up to size 11 US women. So a 9.5 men's is essentially the biggest size they make these things in. So if you have a 10 US men's or a 10.5 or 11 or 12, whatever it may be, you won't actually be able to get these in the proper size simply because they don't actually make them. So please keep that in mind. So once you've gone up 1.5 sizes, how does the shoe actually fit? Just like the men's version of the Magista Obra. These are not women's fit. There's no difference in the shape. There's no difference in the construction. It's the exact same shoe with different sizing. So no difference here whatsoever. They feel just like standard Magista Obras. Flyknit construction, fairly comfortable from right out of the box. Obviously the fit in the heel is the one thing that a lot of people notice when they wear these things for the first time. It does take some getting used to. There is somewhat of a break-in period there, but as long as you take things slow, you shouldn't have too many issues in regards to breaking them in. You do of course have the mid-cut design where the color is slightly noticeable at first, mainly because you're thinking about it, but again, once you get used to wearing the shoes, it's not something that you really notice all that much. And what it does do is create somewhat of a seamless sensation where it feels like the shoe flows from your legs onto your feet with no real transition point, which is really, really nice. As far as the width of the shoe is concerned, they're going to be suitable for most people. They're not particularly wide, but they certainly aren't narrow either. Like I said, they will fit most people, but keep in mind that they aren't going to stretch. So the way they fit from right out of the box is the way they're going to fit for their entire lifespan. So as long as you don't have excessively wide feet, you shouldn't have any issues here whatsoever. And of course, we talked about sizing. If you're going from men's to women's shoes, all you have to do is add 1.5 sizes to have the exact same fit. Speaking on the laces, on my left foot I have the stock neon yellow laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot I have a pair of black and white speckled SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, check out the website www.sr4ulaces.com. Find a direct link to that down below in the description of this video. So that's pretty much it as far as how these things fit and feel, and move on next to take a closer look at the colorway. As far as the colorway is concerned, this is the closest thing that we've seen to the launch colorway for the Obra that was featured in the 2014 Men's World Cup. It features a Volt Yellow Flyknit base with black detailing. Obviously you don't have the black that fades to Hyper Punch on this particular shoe. It's black on both the lateral and medial side, which I personally prefer the look of. And then of course you're going to find a white Nike swoosh with a black outline. None of that gold detailing on the inside like you saw on the Men's World Cup colorway. So overall, Very good looking shoe, a little bit more simple. I think a lot of people would argue looks a little bit better. Volt yellow laces. The collar is mostly Volt yellow in color with the black mid layer and of course the black ring across the top. Your Magista branding in black as well. And then of course the kind of main two colors you're going to find on all the Women's World Cup shoes is Volt yellow and Blue Lagoon. Blue Lagoon is featured obviously in the sole plate and the heel counter, but no metallic Blue Lagoon. It's just a standard blue color that is kind of like a slightly more greenish tinge of dark navy blue, if that makes any sense. That's kind of how I would describe it. And it looks very, very good, accenting really nicely with the Volt yellow, the black, and the white on the rest of the shoe. And then the tips of the studs, as you guys can see, are translucent. So overall, really, really good looking colorway. If you like Volt yellow and you like black, there isn't much to dislike about this particular colorway. They just look really, really good. One of the more simple, brightly colored Magista Obras that we've seen so far. So let me know your opinions on it down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. At this point, I think it's pretty well known that the Magista Obra is a great performer. For the sake of the video, we're going to go over all of the basic tech specs that you should know about this shoe. But if you guys do want as many details as possible, I'd strongly recommend checking out the written review on my website. That'll be linked in the description. And I also have a playtest and traction test video of the Magista Obra. I'll leave annotations to those on screen if you want to see these things in action. Now, Flyknit upper mid-cut design. That's really the main reason why you would pick these up. Obviously, you can get that from the Superfly model as well. The difference here is that the Flyknit on this shoe is going to be a little bit more structured, and it does have a padded inner liner as well. So while it's thin, it's a little bit more dense, and it does have a slightly cushioned sensation when making contact with the ball. What's great about this Flyknit design is you get tons of structure in all the areas that you need it, while still maintaining nice flexibility and just a sock-like sensation when the shoes are on your feet in general. Running through the actual shoes into the lacing system from the base of the sole are Brio cables that are a little bit more difficult to see on the Obra than they are on the Superfly, mainly because it's kind of hidden in the design. But when you pull the laces tight, these cables are pulled on as well, and it keeps your foot locked in place, making for a nice responsive feel, not allowing your foot to shift side to side when you're making those quick, hard lateral cuts. Finish on the shoe has a Nike skin covering, ACC as well, acting as your wet control element. And as far as grip on the ball in wet weather conditions is concerned, really, really good. Speaking of playing in these in the wet, a lot of people are concerned about water resistance, mainly because it's a knitted upper. But I can tell you that because the knitting material is so dense and there's different layers to it, and just the type of yarn that they've actually used here, the outside layer will absorb water in the areas that are exposed, but it won't actually seep through to the inside of the shoe. So as long as you're not standing around in a puddle, your feet will stay completely dry, which is really surprising. And what also does a good job of helping the water resistance of this shoe is the actual mid-cut design, because water can't seep in through the sides. It's higher up your leg. And like I said, water's just not going to get in this shoe in general, even if it's really, really raining. So that's definitely a plus for any of the mid-cut Flyknit models from Nike. The laces are pushed slightly to the lateral side of the shoe, which is kind of unusual, but common characteristic of the CTR 360 now Magista line. You of course do have the mid-cut dynamic fit collar that is more of an elasticated Flyknit material. No real structure to it whatsoever. A lot of people mistake this as kind of an ankle support or just extra support in general in this area of the shoe, and that's not what this is. This is here to provide a certain feel and a certain look. It gives you that seamless sensation where it feels like the shoe flows from your leg onto your foot, but doesn't actually provide any extra stability or any extra protection at all for that matter. It's really there just as a kind of a sensory type of element as opposed to something that actually has an impact on performance. You do have an external heel counter, as you guys can see. Inside of the shoe, there is a synthetic leather lining with some padding here at the back portion, kind of a traditional lining material. And then you're going to find the insole fully removable, mesh liner on top, perforations throughout, single layer of foam, nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. And then of course you have the sole plate and heel counter combo, one piece, as you guys can see. Sole plate is made from a slightly stiffer kind of compressed nylon material, stiffer than what you're going to find on the Opus anyways. Something that does take some getting used to, but once the shoes are broken in, it does become more flexible and you just kind of get used to it in general. And of course the stud pattern, all conical studs, kind of loosely based off of what you're going to get from the Tiempo line, minus the bladed studs in the heel. All the studs are conical in shape, but they have a decent length to them and are fairly narrow in profile, so they dig into the ground nicely, providing good bite, but because they are rounded in shape, you still get nice freedom to kind of twist and pivot and just maneuver in general. So on firm natural grass playing surfaces, this particular stud pattern works extremely well. In terms of weight, while this is technically a women's version of the shoe, the construction is no different. So what I have right here is a scale that I'm going to use to weigh these things in real time. In orange, I have the men's version of the Obra. That is a size 9.5 US. And in Volt Yellow here, I have the women's version of the Obra. That's an 11 US women's, which is technically the same size as a 9.5 US men's. So we're going to weigh both versions of the shoe so we can see exactly what they weigh in real time. We'll start off with the men's version, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.2 ounces, the equivalent of 205 grams. Very, very lightweight. So we'll change the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the women's version that again is technically the same size, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.05 or 7.1 ounces to keep things simple. There's obviously going to be some kind of a weight variation from colorway to colorway, and even pair to pair. There's just going to be slight variance because these things are mass produced at the end of the day. That is the equivalent of 200 grams. So again, same shoe, different colorway, technically the same weight as well, even though this is the men's version and this is the women's version. So if you were worried about the weight of the shoe based on this being a women's version, just know that the construction is the same. It's the same exact shoe. The only thing that's different is the sizing. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the Women's World Cup Nike Magista Obra. If you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend checking out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you will be able to pick these up below their normal $275 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair for yourself, first link down below in the description, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding the Magista Obra, feel free to ask those down below in the comment section, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.